It seems art shaming is ruining the art community on different platforms, but most especially Twitter and TikTok. Artists cannot draw their favorite characters without the fear of being criticized for not drawing them to look a certain way or not drawing them to appeal to everyone else's headcanon of what they think the character should look like according to them, which is certainly impossible. And I'm sure every one of you watching this video has seen this in some form or another, and you probably wanted to talk about it, but unfortunately you couldn't. So let's talk about it today. Hey, how's it going, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about an issue I've noticed over time in the art community, which I'll refer to as art shaming. So if you're new to this channel and enjoy videos like this, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel a lot. And if you want to join a community of artists who are dedicated to helping each other improve and grow constantly, there's a link in the description to join our Discord server, and we'll be very excited to have all of you. Art shaming is basically any action that makes derogatory comments on the significance of art. Now, for the students who usually sit at the back of the class like me and a couple of my friends, art shaming is basically what happens when people try to force their own perceived opinions of art or a character on an artist and try to make them draw a certain way using things like side remarks, backhanded compliments, or just downright offensive insults targeted at the artist's work with hopes of getting the artist hated on social media and harassed by other people for no reason. From what I've noticed, art shaming is probably the underlying cause of 80% of the amount of hate and toxicity within the art community, with heavy emphasis on Twitter, and to this day I can't seem to understand why people just wake up extra early in the morning just to hate on other artists and spread negativity with their shitty comments. It's really not that hard. If you don't like a particular drawing or you think it's not good enough, just scroll away or stop following the artist. Instead of typing an entire paragraph telling them why their art is the most horrible thing you have ever set your eyes upon since the creation of mankind, and how you can't wait to see the artist end themselves just because you don't like the way they drew your precious little Miguel O'Hara. There are different reasons why people go about art shaming artists, but these are the ones I'm specifically going to talk about in this video. Passive-aggressive comments and forcing opinions to seek validation, art style slander, bullying younger artists to show superiority, dishonest critiques, and hate watching. Forcing opinions on artists is very common on every social media platform, and as an artist, you're going to experience this one way or another. It's either someone wants you to draw their favorite character in a certain art style or in a certain pose, or sometimes even draw them as another person's headcanon instead of what you want to draw. Now, most times these opinions might be compliments with no ill intentions behind them. Some people automatically make it their right to think they can harass artists just because of how they drew a certain character, or in this case, how they did not draw a certain character. So let's take a look at this situation. For example, an artist on Twitter drew fan art of Miguel O'Hara from across the Spiderverse just casually and posted it on their account because they enjoyed the movie and just loved the way Miguel was portrayed and probably enjoyed his character. And since Across the Spiderverse is a very popular movie which everyone and their grandma loves, it definitely has fans of different ages who are not artists at all, but also have their own expectations of what each of the characters represent to them. So of course everyone had something to say about this drawing of Miguel. While some people complained about gender bending, saying Miguel was better left as a male character and should never have had his gender changed, others said the skin tone was a little lighter than usual, so this piece of fan art was horrible. But out of all of these comments, this one was the one that sparked the most outrage out of everyone on Twitter and had people coming for the person that wrote it and supporting the person that made the fan art. Boring, yawning, sloppy, lazy.
That's true.
Keeping in mind this drawing is fan art and the artist had every liberty to make the character whatever they felt like, draw the character however they felt like, and create this piece of fan art without the influence of other people's opinions on their own personal headcanon of the character, how does this person's comment make any sense? For you to go out of your way calling it boring or sloppy shows you don't respect the artist's opinion of drawing their own headcanon and only want to see what you prefer, which is absolutely wrong, especially since this is fan art and the artist in no way whatsoever indicated that this was an original concept or their own original idea of what they think Miguel should be. If they had said their own version was better than what the show had created, then by all means tell them how much their design has a lesser impact on the film than the original and explain to them how it could be better, but still keeping the conversation respectful, because you're having discourse with another human being, and as human beings we all have emotions and feelings which could be hurt by unnecessary insults or lifted with praise and compliments. So knowing how to use your words on social media platforms not only elevates your presence but also draws people towards you or pushes them away from you, depending on how you use your words and express yourself towards other people. The situation caused so much back and forth on Twitter, with a lot of artists coming in to share their opinions and support the original artist, and also give the person who made that comment a few words for them to go home and think about while all this was going on. The argument raised so many discussions in the comments, with people saying the person who made the statement had a right to say such, since the artist publicly shared their work and should be ready for critique whether they ask for it or not, which is like probably one of the dumbest self-centered takes I have heard in a while. Another artist responded saying since that was the case, then people should also expect artists to retaliate when that happens, and they shouldn't complain when they start to see the reaction of other people who don't take that level of disrespect lightly on their art posts, especially since art is subjective, so everyone will definitely have a different perception and opinion of art depending on their influences and things they like and just what they find attractive. And this goes for artists as well. Every artist is different in how they think of ideas and develop these ideas into final drawings. Even when we have two artists who draw the same way, both images are going to look similar, but you will probably still see the differences in things like color choice, shape language, and how they draw anatomy, and just other little differences in both drawings. So saying an artist's design choice is sloppy or boring, or forcing them to draw a certain way without considering the context of their drawing and disregarding their own design choices, does nothing but break up awful conversations like this. Talking bad about a person's art style has become all too common on the internet. People just say whatever they feel like these days and insult artists because they believe nothing is going to happen to them, and the artist probably wouldn't respond because artists are too meek and shy to talk back when they are attacked or trolled. You'll always find people who call a popular artist's style bad or mid because they draw faces a certain way or draw anatomy a certain way, or just saying their drawing is not pleasing enough, or some other superficial thing that really isn't a big problem in the grand scheme of things. I've also noticed the bigger an artist becomes, or the more popular an artist becomes, the more people either start to hate their work or just randomly start to find problems where problems really didn't exist in the first place. And this also happens when you have a drawing go viral in a tweet or video and it catches the attention of the wrong people, who then begin to mock the artist instead of probably commending them for their effort and telling them what needs to be fixed in the drawing to make it better and improve it. It's so annoying when artists, especially kids who are beginners, specifically have to indicate that they're beginners and are looking for critique to help them get better, and people just use that as an opportunity for them to make fun of them for literally asking the community for help. I'm glad some good people saw the post and responded to it, telling the artists what they needed to hear and gave them tips that instantly made the image better. It's sad things like this happen all the time, and now people are even taking it far and fixing artists' styles they don't like, claiming they're correcting the artists and teaching them anatomy. But in all honesty, all they're doing is pushing the line between criticism and borderline harassment just because they don't like an artist's style. What even pisses me off so much about this situation is the fact that the person trying to correct the artist never realized every drawing the artist has made ever since I started following them. At least every single drawing has ever had accurate or anatomically correct proportions, because obviously the artist enjoys making their drawings simplified and exaggerating their poses and proportions. And after looking at their drawings for some time, you can clearly tell they know what they're doing if it's not already obvious, and they're not making bad drawings or drawing disfigured characters because they don't understand anatomy. A lot of people commented on the tweet calling out the person who made the fix on the artist's drawing, saying they had no clue how anatomy works, and some even said they had no idea how to draw at all. But But what I enjoyed out of everything was when the artist replied to the comment saying thank you for the critique, making fun of the commenter and showing them how ignorant their comment was and how their logic made absolutely zero sense at all. And everyone else started going along with the joke, making their own light-hearted drawings, turning the entire situation into such a shit show. If you see something you don't like or an art style that looks peculiar to you, just ignore it. You don't have to comment on it or make an entire situation telling the artist how shit their drawing is just because it doesn't appeal to you. Just let artists enjoy what they like and everyone will probably live happily ever after. It's not that serious. Bullying can't be talked about enough, as it seems with every video I make discussing the art community, I always come back to people leaving comments about how they were either bullied by people for how their drawings looked or mocked because they showed vulnerability with their art and expressed how they felt about their art skills being below average and were consciously looking for guidance to improve their drawings over time, which is in no way whatsoever a bad thing. I feel like social media has made us set unrealistic expectations of art and how long it takes to actually get good because we have become exposed to so much good art in numerous forms, and just scrolling through any app makes you think you could just get up, pick up a pencil or stylus and draw the best image ever because of all the insane art you have seen in videos and all the drawing tips and tutorials you have saved on your phone for future use, which you obviously are going to forget after a couple of days, but you'll still keep saving the new ones anyway. And because we have seen so much good art on our phones from different artists, it makes us forget the most important thing about art. It takes time. Making art is a skill, and just like every other skill, you're probably going to be bad at it from the start. But the more you practice and dedicate yourself to finding ways to help you improve and also investing in learning from the right sources and channels, you're going to see improvement in your work over time. It's easy to get carried away because everyone shows 30% of their best images on the internet, but don't really show you the other 70% of bad drawings, sketches, and all the hours of practice they put into learning how to draw a specific thing very well, which makes up the bulk of the drawing process. This unrealistic expectation of what to expect from every person that decides to share their art on the internet is why some people cannot understand the concept of seeing a beginner share their art which doesn't look as good as all the other images they have seen, and to them this looks extremely ridiculous or out of place. But instead of them to encourage the artist to continue to draw and strive to be better, they just bully them and mock them for being bad. As much as we all like to tell jokes every now and then, mocking beginner artists for their lack of skill is not a thing to laugh about, and so is bullying them off the platform. Let's all just stop art shaming people because their skills are not good enough or their art styles are not what we have been led to believe is aesthetic by algorithms dedicated to sharing only art that looks in a specific type of way. Art shaming is ruining the art community, and we can all agree with this. It is a toxic trait. It doesn't benefit anyone and just creates tension between artists and the people who are meant to enjoy their work. Targeting certain artists or harassing them unprovoked without any just cause is very disrespectful, especially since most artists just come on the internet to share their work and also try to help others get better and are not problematic for the most part. If you have a problem with an artist's work, or you really want to correct them on something you feel could be better in the image, by all means leave a polite comment or share the message with them in their DMs instead of just being rude and disrespectful. Everyone should learn to appreciate art for what it is instead of how many likes it's getting or the age of the artist or if the artist is drawing in a particular art style. There's many different ways of drawing, and if someone chooses to draw a certain way, let them do what inspires them and keeps them motivated to draw. Don't try to force your own input on them or force them to draw another way just because it looks good to you. Let people do what they like, draw what they like, however they like, and if you happen to like it, great, that works. If you don't, just scroll away. It's that easy. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Please leave a like on the video, share it with a friend who will benefit from this, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I'll see all you pretty penguins in the next video. Bye.